The Xelari Empire had ruled the galaxy for over 1,000 years. They were a species bred for war, tall, armored beings with razor-sharp claws and minds built for conquest. Their fleets burned through entire star systems, leaving behind only ruins and obedience. To the Xelari, war was not just a necessity, it was their way of life. They crushed resistance with overwhelming force, enslaved the weak, and erased the civilizations that dared to defy them. No species had ever truly stood against them. Until the humans arrived. The beginning of the end. The Xelari first became aware of humanity when they intercepted signals from the Sol system. At first, they dismissed them, just another primitive race playing with technology beyond their understanding. But as their probes gathered more data, they realized something unusual. Humans had expanded beyond their homeworld, Earth. They had colonized Mars, built stations around Jupiter, and even had an outpost on Europa. They were progressing at an alarming rate, and worse, they were unpredictable. Most species followed a pattern. They developed, fought among themselves, then either unified or destroyed themselves. But humans? Humans thrived on conflict. Still, the Xelari were not concerned that humans were fragile, weak. Conquering them would be effortless. Or so they thought. The first attack? The attack on Europa was meant to be a warning. A single Xelari fleet descended upon the human outpost, demanding surrender. Instead, the humans fought back. At first, the Xelari were amused. The humans' weapons were crude compared to their advanced technology. Their ships were smaller, slower, and lacked the powerful shields of the Empire's warcruisers. It should have been over in minutes. But the humans did something no other species had done before. They adapted. They analyzed the enemy's tactics in real time. They found weaknesses, exploited blind spots, and, more shockingly, used their own ships as bait to lure Xelari vessels into traps. Within hours, the Xelari suffered their first loss, a war cruiser, torn apart by human explosives. The fleet retreated. It was the first time in centuries that the Xelari had been forced to withdraw. The High Command was furious. The war begins. A full invasion was ordered. Hundreds of Xelari ships surged toward human space. The strategy was simple: overwhelm the enemy, burn their worlds, and erase their existence. But something strange happened. The humans had disappeared. Their fleets were not gathered for a final stand. Their colonies were not fortified for a last defense. The Xelari found only empty stations, abandoned bases, and silence. Then the first ambush struck. Human ships, hidden in asteroid fields, tore through the Xelari supply lines. They used tactics no species had ever attempted: hit-and-run strikes, electronic warfare, false signals, and decoys. They didn't fight fair. The Xelari, for all their strength, fought with brute force and predictable patterns. The humans, they fought like demons, twisting the battlefield into a chaotic, ever-changing nightmare. Every time the Xelari adapted, the humans countered. Every time they thought they had an advantage, the humans shifted the rules of engagement. The Empire's greatest weapon, fear, meant nothing to a species that had spent its entire history fighting wars. The fall of Xelari pride. The war raged for years. What was meant to be a swift conquest turned into a desperate struggle. The Xelari suffered more losses than ever before. And then came the final insult. A human boarding team, just a handful of soldiers, managed to capture a Xelari dreadnought. Not destroy it, not disable it. Capture it. This was unheard of. A single dreadnought could level entire planets. Its technology was beyond anything the humans should have been able to comprehend. And yet, they hacked its systems, disabled its crew, and turned it against the Empire. The message was clear. You are not invincible. Across the galaxy, other civilizations took notice. The once feared Xelari Empire was losing. The species they had dismissed as weak was tearing them apart. Rebellions ignited. Enslaved worlds rose up. The Empire fractured. The final battle. The Xelari High Command, desperate to salvage their rule, launched one last offensive. They gathered every remaining ship, every soldier, and hurled them at Earth itself. If they could not conquer humanity, they would destroy it. But the humans were ready. When the Ixaleri fleet arrived, they found Earth protected by a wall of firepower, weapons that had been reverse-engineered from their own fallen ships. More terrifying, they found themselves surrounded. Human fleets emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, cutting off every escape route. They had anticipated everything. The battle that followed was one for the history books. The Ixaleri fought with desperation, but the humans fought with purpose. Every ship lost was replaced. Every tactic countered. Every plan shattered. And in the end, the last of the Ixaleri warlords surrendered. The aftermath. The war was over. The once mighty Ixaleri Empire had fallen, not to brute strength, but to human ingenuity, resilience, and sheer refusal to be conquered. But humanity was not cruel. They did not exterminate the Ixaleri. Instead, they gave them a choice. Live under a new rule as equals or remain in the shadows, forever running from the consequences of your past. Some Ixaleri chose exile, their pride refusing to let them kneel, but many, too many, chose to stay. They had seen what humans were capable of. They had seen what true power was. Not the power to destroy, but the power to end wars, to change the galaxy, to break the cycle of conquest that had ruled for millennia. The Ixaleri had been the terror of the galaxy until humans showed up. And now? Now the galaxy belonged to them.